For people in Japan, rice and fish are two of the primary pillars of the diet. Served as sushi, they have long been a favorite delicacy. Biting into the rice and its seafood topping, the flavors and textures blend and melt together to produce a delectable depth of flavor. This type of sushi is called nigiri sushi. Each portion consists of a bite-sized serving of vinegared rice and a topping. In the sushi world, the toppings are called neta. Usually the neta is some kind of seafood. Many kinds of fish are served, both red and white. Shrimp and squid, all kinds of shellfish. There are a tremendous variety of toppings. In the jargon of the sushi shop, the rice base for the sushi is known as the shari. The chef blends vinegar into steaming hot, freshly cooked rice using a paddle. It takes skill to mix the vinegar into the rice without crushing the individual grains. Next, the rice must be fanned to blow away the excess moisture as it cools down. The sugars in the vinegar form a coating around each grain of rice. This stops them from becoming sticky and seals in the flavor. This is the technique for preparing sushi. While the neta is held in the left hand, the shari rice is formed with the right hand. A dab of wasabi horseradish is smeared onto the underside of the neta. In a matter of seconds, the sushi is ready. In ancient times, sushi was a means of preserving food through a fermentation process. Originally, only the fish was eaten. The rice was just for packing around it. It was in the early years of the 19th century that sushi developed into the form that we recognize today. By this time, people in the city were starting to enjoy greater affluence, and there was growing demand for greater variety in their diet. New kinds of food were developed to match the informal style of eating at food stalls. This was how nigiri sushi came into being. Over time, what began as a method for preserving fish developed into Japan's most famous food that today is eaten around the world.
Stuart, how popular is sushi among foreigners?
Well, it's very popular these days. However, some foreigners confuse sushi and sashimi.
Oh, I see.
So I think it's useful if we can explain basic points, like the fact that sushi always contains rice.
I agree, Stuart.
Yes.
These days, sushi shops can be found in many other countries.
That's right.
Why do you think sushi has become so popular outside Japan?
Well, raw fish or raw meat has traditionally been regarded as rather dangerous by many Westerners, but well-cooked food was believed to be safe. However, people began to discover that raw fish properly kept and properly prepared is not dangerous, but actually healthy. And the wasabi and the ginger have an antibacterial effect. And of course also it doesn't smell fishy and it's delicious. So it's now regarded as a health food.
Wow. But how about eating rice?
Well, I should say that for many Westerners, rice is regarded more as a vegetable than as a cereal. So it's an alternative to potatoes rather than an alternative to bread, as it is in Japan.
I see. That's interesting.
But we don't eat potatoes without butter or cheese or gravy or some kind of flavouring. And similarly, most Westerners don't like plain white rice because it's rather tasteless and difficult to eat.
Is that so?
But in the case of sushi, the rice is vinegared, so it's easy to eat. And I think as a result, sushi, or sushi, is now regarded as part of international cuisine.
I see.